We now see the cross-examination of Michael Cohen is underway, and it's very significant because it started very tough. Todd Blanche, the Trump attorney, going after Michael Cohen right away from the beginning, asking about things that Michael Cohen posted on TikTok and Twitter.
Remarkable exchange. So the first thing Todd Blanche asked Michael Cohen is, you and I have never met. Michael Cohen said, correct, we've never met. Blanche then asked, you went on TikTok and called me, and I'm quoting here, you went on TikTok and called me a crying little shit. At that point, there was an objection. The lawyers went to the sidebar, and the judge upheld the objection. And I think the reason why is Michael Cohen's feelings towards the lawyer are really irrelevant. And so that objection was sustained, meaning wipe the question off the books. And then Todd Blanche came back and said, okay, you posted on TikTok that, quote, Trump belongs in a effing cage like an animal. Now that's okay, because that goes to Michael Cohen's bias against Donald Trump. That matters here. So he went right to this issue of, you have this sort of all-consuming personal hatred and a vested interest in this case.
And they're continuing to, just to sort of piggyback off of that, the questioning now, Blanche shows Cohen an email to see if it, quote, refreshes his recollection. Cohen reads the email for several moments. Yes, I see that. The recollection that they're referring to is about Blanche telling Cohen that the prosecution asked Cohen to cut it out. And clearly he didn't. So what they're trying to establish is that Cohen's hatred for Trump is so deep that he's even defying the prosecution in this case, who said, just keep it under wraps.
Well, and they're saying this is the real Michael Cohen. The Michael Cohen who has been on the stand before, full of remorse, a good guy. That's not Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen is the guy who goes on Twitter and writes things like this about the people who are going to be prosecuting him and about the former president of the United States. And so that's the guy you should understand did all these things and lied all these times, and don't feel sorry for him. You know, he's not anybody you ought to feel sorry for. He is out to get Donald Trump and everyone who surrounds Donald Trump.
A little bit of trial practice 101, why the attorney showed the email to Michael Cohen as opposed to read it to him. The email itself is likely hearsay. It can't be just introduced as evidence by an attorney reading it. It can be used to refresh the recollection of a witness who does not remember something. So you just show it to him and say, does this refresh what you said I don't know to a moment ago? Yes. Okay, now please continue. And now he asks him the question.
Well, he's hoist on his own petard. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to just bury him with his own words.
And it's about more than just, is Michael Cohen a good person or bad person? I mean, that matters. But really what this goes to is you have an intense bias in this case. You have one outcome that you've staked your professional future on. They're going to get to the T-shirt that Michael Cohen was wearing the other day, showing Trump behind bars. And I think that's really potent cross-examination. It's frankly insulting to the jury. It's their decision. It's not up to Michael Cohen. This guy goes to jail or not. And it shows that Michael Cohen is sort of consumed by this white-hot hatred for the defendant, which is fair game.
And lying little shit or whatever the line was a question that I'm quite confident, Todd Blanche well, quite confident he knew was going to get objected to.
Probably,
because it's an irrelevant question. But he knew he would get under the witness's skin and plant the seed for the jury that he's just pops off on social media and can't
see if he gets under his
Very
skin.
blistering cross-examination is only just beginning.
Right now, Michael Cohen is back on the witness stand, and he is being cross-examined by Donald Trump's lead attorney, Todd Blanche, being questioned about comments that he made on television and social media about this case. We are following it all closely right now. He is being asked if he leaked to CNN that the DA's office had taken his phones, that he had turned them over to the district attorney's office just over a year ago before Donald Trump was ultimately indicted in this case. With me now is CNN's Kristen Holmes and Paula Reed, and I should note that we are not the people that I believe that Michael Cohen is being alleged to have told that he turned his phones over to the district attorney's office. But Paula, can we talk about how this started? Because right off the bat, it was expletive laden, and Todd Blanche was asking Michael Cohen about comments that he has made recently about Todd Blanche, Susan Necheles, and about Donald Trump himself.
Yeah, they had many choices of how to begin this cross-examination, and Todd chose to start with a TikTok from Michael Cohen where he attacked Todd Blanche using some expletives. Now, Todd Blanche also points out the fact that these two men have never met. It's unclear exactly why this selection was made, but based on my conversations with sources familiar with their thinking, they want to establish that Cohen is so blinded by hatred for Trump and so obsessed with his trial that he would attack someone he's never even met.
And the other thing that they're criticizing him for right off the bat in front of the jury is talking about this case, going on television, giving interviews about this. And Todd Blanche got him, after a few objections, to concede that, yes, the district attorney's office had asked him, prosecutors here, to stop talking publicly about the case, which we already knew because they had said it, privately.
Right, and actually right now, too, it says that you said that CNN already had the info on the phones, talking about leaking that the DA had the phones, and all you did was confirm. Michael Cohen says, no, sir, I don't recall. We've heard a few I don't recalls or that sounds right. Blanche has been really pushing him to say, does that sound right or is that right? Many of the times we've seen Michael Cohen say that is correct. Look, this, again, they are establishing several things. One, they want to know, they've asked this now in multiple different ways, have you been following the trial closely? Then they show examples from social media of him following the trial. They have also said that you talked to the press, that you went beyond the prosecution, even though they asked you not to talk about this case. As Paula said, this all goes to this idea that you are so blind with hatred that you would go beyond even the people prosecuting the case on this.
And I mean, what this started out with is they're not even just saying that he's commenting on the case. It's the way he's commenting on this case. At one point, they were reading Michael Cohen a quote, Todd Blanche was, where he said that Donald Trump should crawl back into a little cage that he belonged in, meaning the courtroom, that he referred to Todd Blanche, and I'm quoting Michael Cohen here, so apologies, as a little shit. And that he also was referring to Donald Trump as Donald Trump the dictator. I mean, they're bringing out everything that Michael Cohen has said to say this is not a credible figure for this jury to be listening to, or this sympathetic figure who earlier to the prosecution was answering yes ma'am, no ma'am, and was talking about his misdeeds.
It comes across as obsessive, fixated on the defendant, and that's what they want to get across. Reasonable doubt in the minds of at least one juror that Michael Cohen is so blinded by his hatred of the defendant that he cannot be trusted in terms of the testimony that he has given for allegedly falsifying documents. It's also notable that they're getting at something that we've all known for a while, which is the frustration that prosecutors have had with Cohen and his relentlessly speaking about this case. He has been told multiple times to stop talking about this case. The judge only told him to stop late last week, but this has been a continued frustration. And it's funny, it feels like the only thing that really we've proven beyond a reasonable doubt in the course of this case is that everybody has been frustrated with Michael Cohen. I mean, the criticism of his character, the way he conducts himself, this is something that is universal across all sides of this case.
And just one thing I want to point out, this is also to try and get under Michael Cohen's skin. They want him to be reactive. They know that he's a reactive person. They know that this has been him on his best behavior. They believe it is good for them and is good for the defense if they can get him to have some kind of outburst.
Blanche is pushing him right now on having very specific recollections of his conversations with Trump, but no recollection of his conversations with the media, because he was saying, they were asking, well, did you deny, did you tell CNN this and other outlets? And he's saying, I don't recall that.
Yeah, and again, they're going to try to go through it. This is going to be all about painting him as not actually knowing what was going on or remembering what was going on, and essentially that he's following the case so closely that he might be making some of this up in order to be presenting the case in a certain way because, again, back to the basics, he is so blind with hatred here.
And now Cohen is saying, what I was saying to you, sir, I don't recall even having these conversations with Lanny Davis about not going on television, which we know, of course, they did have. Lanny Davis, Michael Cohen's former attorney, has been very careful himself about what he can say about this case.
That is right. And I remember a period in dealing with him last year around the time of the indictment when there was again pressure from Michael Cohen to stop talking to the press, to stop going on television. I mean, this pressure has been there for years, but really reached a crescendo as they came to indict Trump. But it's clear Cohen has not stopped. He has been relentless in his attacks on the defendant, and that is a problem for prosecutors, but a great opportunity for the defense.